Casey Gray here from The Conscious Builder, and on today's construction tech update, I'm going to be touching on 3D printing prefab construction, building a city on Mars, replacing bitumen in asphalt with string, and most importantly, keeping an open bottle of wine fresh for up to 90 days. So lots of exciting things happening again in the tech world. If you haven't already, hit subscribe, hit the bell button so you get all the notifications for updates for all the videos that we're releasing on a weekly basis now. So let's get into today's tech update. Number 1. Robotic 3D printing systems build large lightweight structure in free space. That's the key word there, free space. So among the goals of the Chattanooga, Tennessee company is to provide architects unprecedented design freedom through the use of its cellular fabrication, so CFAB technology. The patented process combines industrial robots, powerful algorithms, and the company's free-form extrusion process that allows huge structures to be 3D printed without supports. So there is a video that I'd recommend watching. They got a lot of really cool stuff. They explain the technology. They show how it works. But Branch says CFAB permits the creation of structures that would be impossible to make by traditional construction techniques. So that is a big thing right there. Architects love curves. At least a lot of them do, at least the ones that we work with. A lot of them like working with things that aren't the norm, right? They want to try new things. It's an expression of who they are, which I definitely agree with. On the construction side, it makes it quite difficult and often expensive to build. And this may be exactly what we're looking for, but you need to keep up to date with this stuff because the construction world is finally starting to change. Things are coming out that will create new jobs, but also eliminate other jobs. So looking at nature, Boyd saw that large objects such as trees and the human body are built on a matrix of microscopic cell walls, resulting in a mostly open structure. So that's where this is coming from. With its 12-foot tall, 6-axis custom green industrial robots built by KUKA, Branch can print parts up to 8x8 by 35 feet in a single print. The technology allows extruded material to solidify in free space without dimensional restrictions and eliminates the need for support structure. CFAB objects can be made from 20 times less material than those produced by traditional layering approaches. So that's really important to know. So there is 3D printing that's been happening in construction a long time. There's big machines that will go to site, and it's kind of like soft ice cream that comes out, but they layer it, they build it up, so they use a lot of material. Essentially what they're doing with this technology is instead of layering, they're printing these mini structures within that to create the layer. So it's using way less material, as you can see, and it's actually creating something a lot lighter. So once panels are printed at the factory, they are shipped to the site where they are installed with industry standard range screen hardware and custom engineering structures. Attachments are integrated into a building's outer covering. So this is obviously there's still going to be site construction required at this point, but this is the beginning of some really cool technology and what can be coming into our buildings down the road. So unlike other additive manufacturing companies in the building industry, Branch Technology focuses on prefabrication and modular construction, which provide a more reliable environment for quality control and products and product timelines, which I would agree with. We've been looking into prefab. We've done some research too on prefab. It makes a lot of sense, but you are limited to a certain radius where that prefabrication is being done. But with something like this, I could see that radius being larger because shipping the structure doesn't require as much, right? If it's something that's lighter, as long as it can be packed tighter, then it could actually make this radius a lot larger. So along with the waste reduction, prefab construction enhances environmental stewardship in other ways. We want our materials to be lightweight to minimize the environmental effects of shipping, McCabe said, and we want to be able to recycle materials. Our polymer can be recycled up to 4 times inside our factory, so there's almost no waste at all. So that is obviously great news. We're always thinking about how to reuse, upcycle, recycle these products. So love seeing that sort of stuff. Here's another picture of how the technology works, but Anyways, lots of really cool stuff. This is something I definitely recommend you look into if you're in the construction industry. There's a lot of stuff happening with 3D printing. I've been reading on this for quite a few years now. And as we know, technology grows exponentially. So it's going to go faster and faster. So before we know it, we're going to be seeing more and more things like this. What I also like about this is that you can also run things with, for example, through the wall assembly. So one of the downfalls, I think, to printing something like a building is that what do you do with your electrical? What do you do with your plumbing? Like, there's still a lot of work that needs to be done. Essentially, you're doing the structural part, but it's using a lot of material, like it's layered, right? So this is getting rid of that. So if you have an open structure, you can now add things within that structure to, like we would do in a typical construction of a home. You run things within your wall assembly. It's really cool stuff. Move on to the next. Scientists unveil breathtaking Martian city that can house 250,000 people. So if you're getting sick of building on planet Earth, maybe you can go out and build on Mars. So called Nua City, the first large-scale Martian settlement could house 250,000 people and be built along and into the side of a colossal cliff, where the people of Mars would have access to sunlight without risking overexposure to the deadly threat of cosmic radiation. Abibu claims construction could start by 2054, with the first settlers potentially moving in by the year 2100. So that's pretty amazing. The side of the cliff on the red planet will enable settlers to live in personal homes with other areas committed to agriculture and energy purposes, where people may raise livestock or generate energy from the sun. So the aim is to build a self-sustaining civilization on Martian surface capable of subsisting without the need of constantly ferrying supplies from Earth, which is obviously very important. We're already raping and pillaging the Earth, in my opinion, with all of its natural resources. We are getting better and better at that, but we still have a long way to go. If we're going to start taking this and bringing it to another planet as well, that's not going to go over very well with Mother Nature. I always say Mother Nature was here before us and will be here long after us, and if we don't cooperate, she'll just eject us, and we don't want that to happen. So, but anyways, lots of really cool stuff happening there. Move on to the next things, more robotics. Robotic arm builds roads by binding asphalt with strings. So a team of researchers in Switzerland has demonstrated how a robotic arm can lay patterns of string to bind asphalt together in a more sustainable road building process. The method would remove the need for environmentally damaging bitumen and would also make it easier to recycle road materials. The team carried out load tests, revealing that the experimental road materials was able to withstand pressures equal to half a ton. So if you watch the video, you will see exactly what I'm talking there. They've done some pressure tests. The team did emphasize that the current form of the material would not be safe for building roads. However, they do believe their experiments demonstrate that the method has great potential for building roads by a more sustainable process. So once again, this is research and development. Things aren't necessarily ready, but you can see where forward-thinking people are going and what amazing people are putting to the test and doing to continue to make things better and more environmentally friendly. Reduce the need for oil. All right, last video. We're on to wine. Probably the most important video of all, right? So anyways, if you're like myself and my wife, if we open a bottle of wine, it usually doesn't get done very quickly. So it'll go bad before we finish it, sort of thing. This is a really cool product that will actually keep the wine fresh for up to 90 days. So it's made by Plum, and you can get countertop models as well as desktop models. You can see here, you can put 2 different bottles of wine in it. You can preserve it up to 90 days. You can actually tell it knows which temperature it should be putting the wine out, so it can control the temperature of each individual wine. And there's a touchscreen display, which is pretty much everything these days. But as you can see from the video that's playing here, is that it does a lot of really cool stuff. You choose your wine, it tells you how big it is. It'll just stay fresh, right? So you can put a bottle of wine in there, have a little glass. You can have red and white. So if you and your partner drink something different, you can get a built-in model, or you can get a countertop model. So really cool product. Haven't seen it in person yet, but it is something that's very interesting and that we'll be mentioning to our clients. For anybody who's a wine drinker, I highly recommend checking it out. You can see the counter model is quite big, but if you're redoing a kitchen, why not work this into the design? Could be something really cool. You have your espresso machine, and then you have your wine machine right beside it, right? So anyways, Hope you enjoyed this video. Once again, lots of exciting things happening. There's no shortage of technology coming out every single week. Lots of news coming out. So if you enjoyed this video, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell button to get notifications on when it gets released, as well as all the other videos that we're doing on project updates, answering questions, including our 3-day cottage as well, which will be released soon.